everybody, back to Better by Next Week podcast. I hope everyone crushed their runs on the weekend, and we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive on strength training today.
Yeah, so strength training, we kind of want people to come away today understanding why they do strength training. And, we'll go into, particular things about strength training, but it's more getting an understanding of why you're actually doing the strength training. Because I find that a lot of the time when people say, do strength training, it'll help your running, and people go, oh, I'm going to do it, but how does that look? Like, what do I do? Why am I doing it? But I think if you have a really good picture in your head of why you're doing it, it'll allow you to, go out there and try it. And it doesn't have to be, big things with strength training. It's just getting started every day, doing little things.
Well, I think it's also important to acknowledge that it's different for everybody. So I know people like David Roach who have a completely different approach to strength training. Like, he is about, okay, so you're a runner, you're supposed to be good at running, not good at strength training. Or I know other athletes like Peru, did I say that right? Yeah. Who crushed King of the Hill. He was one of the winners last year. And you said that he had just focused completely on strength training because he wasn't as fast as the other runners, but he knew he could outlast them.
Yeah, and he posted up a video on the King of the Hill Instagram page, and he was speaking about how his strength training was kind of almost like his superpower to becoming better at the hills that he had to encounter at this event. And for anyone that doesn't know what the event is, it's called King of the Hill. It's very similar to a backyard ultra, but it's going up and down a hill over a 4.2 kilometer loop.
Something like that.
But last year, they did that for 75 hours and they did 20,000 meters of vert. So you could imagine the strength needed in those legs to get you up and down. And he even mentioned a few times that he had worked so much on the strength work of his legs, and he'd still done a lot of kilometers as well. But he said that there were other runners that were better. They were probably better runners, faster runners, but he just outlasted them because he had the strength in his legs.
Well, I think strength training is really cool in a way how you can change it throughout the whole year, because you might have a different issue, whether that be an injury or you want to work on something. So it doesn't have to be solely on this one idea, this straight strength training plan the whole year. It can vary, it can change, and I think that's what's so cool about it.
Yeah, a lot of the time it's a little bit daunting as well, because people don't understand what exercises they can do, how to apply them, things like that. And a lot of the things that came up, and we'll probably speak about it a lot today, a lot of the things that came up were the fact that just being consistent was like
That's
the key.
huge.
Yeah, it's huge. And that's the key to a lot. I think a lot of things, just running in general, being consistent is important.
I think we have a lot to say about consistency in terms of strength training as well. Like, we are very consistent with running. I don't know why we're not so consistent with strength training. I'm only just starting to no, this is important now. I have to stick at it.
Yeah, and one thing that I took away from this week, looking into this episode and what the content that we were going to cover, I actually learnt so much, and I finally understood why it's so important to do the strength training, because it prevents injuries, it helps with form, and there's so many other things that it does. And I think that a lot of us, we don't want to do it because we like the running. I love running. Today I don't want to talk about how good I am at strength training, because I'm probably the worst person at strength training. I try and avoid it as much as I can. And a lot of the time people try and get away with the least amount of work possible to get the same outcome. And I often talk about, things like sleep, and, it may be the actual strength training itself, interval training, and all these pillars of what makes a good runner. And strength training is one of those things. And
I think it sometimes gets a little bit overlooked too. It's like, oh, strength training, we just kind of shove it out of the way.
Well, I think people want to do that because they actually don't want to do it.
It's hard. Trust me, it's hard doing strength training. It's almost because it's like an invisible build-up. Because it's you can relate it back to preventative strength training, where what happens is you kind of don't see too much progress as much as what you would be seeing in running, because you're doing running every day and you're not doing strength training as much. But what happens is in an event, you don't realize that the strength training you did is actually preventing you from being fatigued.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of the time, like for you, what does strength training look like for you at the moment?
Well, at the moment, I think because I've been currently training for a faster 5K, so I've got 3 workouts in a week, and one of them is an ankle strength training because, again, you kind of relate it back to some issues that you've had, and for me, my shins weren't too good, so I think for me that the ankle strength training and the calf strengthening is really good, and I also involve plyometrics into that because I want some power into my calves. I also have a heavy day. So I lift heavy weights for the glute and hamstring activation. And then I'll have a little body pump, which you kind of recommended to me, which is
Lucky 13.
it's called Lucky 13. So you do, sometimes
It's like a pyramid.
yeah.
So it's like a pyramid. So you pretty much do, 10 burpees, 10 push-ups, 10 jump squats, and I think it's like 1 pull-up or something like that. And then you work it up, and it's like 10, 20, 30, 40, and then you work your way back down.
Yeah.
And how long does that normally take you to do?
Well, at start, but Dad's record is 24 minutes. It's incredible. That was when he was in his peak. I'm sure you'll get it again because you are probably on a downfall. But I still believe that you could probably do it if you had the training. Regardless, first time I did it was 55 minutes. That was a very long time. That was a very long
And I
grind.
watched you, and you were doing the worm out.
Yeah, my form dropped off. But I mean, that's what happens when you start out, and that's what's hard to keep it consistent because you're like, am I actually doing anything? And again, we'll probably get into this a little bit later on, but it's important to have good form and strength training. But now I've got that down. You can see the progress as well. I've got it down, and now it's about 27 minutes I can do with him.
Yeah, and I think, it's awesome that you can do it in 27 minutes, but I think the viewers and the listeners, a thing that they need to take away, that if it takes a bit longer, it's okay. Don't rush through it. You want the that full range of the actual exercise, so you're actually activating all those muscles that you need to. You're actually getting stronger, because if you rush through things with bad form, look, you
can actually cause damage.
Yeah, you can actually hurt yourself. So, and that's why I think it's really important to engage with a PT, engage with a physio, those people,
The experts.
Yeah, the experts. They know what they're talking about. There's a lot of stuff out on YouTube as well that's for free that people can go and look up exercises. My current strength training program, it's probably 3 days a week, and it's kind of isolates certain muscle groups. So I'll do, maybe I'll do quads and hammies one day, and it's like a 45-minute workout with just different exercises. I'll do calves and glutes as well, and then I'll do a core exercise as well. I think core is a really important one and can often be missed because people think that I just run. Why do I need to, build up my core or up the top? What you don't realize sometimes is that on longer events, it may not be as critical on shorter, like 5K or 10K events, but I've found that I've finished events sometimes that, might go for 100Ks or 160Ks, and I can't understand I'm sore in my core, and I can't understand why is my lower back so sore? You're actually holding your torso up for hours, and you don't realize how important that strength work in the core is so that it can hold you up.
Well, I'll often find that if I do a really hilly trail run or even a race, the other week we went out to Megasore, and the worst muscle group that was sore was actually my lower back. But it was because I was bent over so much and my form hadn't been used to running up hills or those steep gradients. So I think, it takes a lot for form. And you've even said that your form's the best day. Your core is the best day.
Yeah, that's right. I hate doing it. I absolutely hate doing it because it hurts. But, you're down there doing the planks. You're doing all those things just to strengthen that core. And you'll see it. If you know how you said that you often don't see those results.
It's an invisible
it's almost
progress.
It's invisible, but until it's no longer invisible.
So you break out.
You break out and you feel strong. You
said to me the other day that you just went on a run. Do you want to walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah. So like I went out on one of my runs and I was like, this is this is so much easier than what it has been in the past. I think I've had that that kind of breakthrough moment again, because I've been doing it for maybe 6 or 7 weeks, this new strength program, and now I'm actually seeing a massive benefit to that. When I'm running up hills, I feel like all my muscles are engaging, my glutes are engaging, and I feel so much more powerful. I feel like my muscles are stronger and things seem effortless. So I can kind of accelerate harder up these hills. And I just couldn't believe how much of an advantage it was. Because often in the past, I actually looked back before I started this training block in terms of strength. I looked back at my best results at events, and I've got it all written down, and I'm looking at it and I'm like, yep, that was a really cool event. I did really well. Oh, that one, I did really well. That one, I didn't do so great. I DNF'd at this one. I did. And then you know what I found? At the ones that I did the best were when I had some strength work there. And it was all consistent strength work. It was working. And it may not have all been, you know, like 5 days a week or 3 days a week. They were all different, but it was some sort of strength work that complemented it. So you may not always get it right with the strength work side of things, but if you're doing it, that's the most important thing.
It's funny that you say that. I'll get into my study that I did a little bit of research on to later on, but I had a different. I looked at so many studies, and the one common denominator throughout all of them was for it to be super consistent, where people didn't see results after 7 weeks, which is funny that you're seeing results now, because imagine what you're going to be like at 10, 14 weeks. And that's what they were suggesting, to keep at it for at least 10 to 14 weeks and you'll see progress happen.
Yeah, it's almost like believing just in the process, that the process is
belief
going to
always
work.
links back into it.
Yeah, and there's one thing that I find as well when I often speak to people about strength work, the first thing they say to me, I don't want to be bulky. I don't want to be heavier because then that's going to slow me down. And you will get bigger and bulkier, but only if you do the wrong strength work. If you start a bodybuilding program, yeah, you're going to get bigger. That's just how bodybuilding works. But if you're actually doing the strength work for runners, then you'll find that you'll build lean muscle, and it'll allow you to, you will get a little bit heavier, but you'll be stronger and you'll have more power. So that's a real big misconception that I've found, that people think that they're going to get big and bulky because they're doing strength work, so they avoid strength work, and that's a big no.
Well, even I've sometimes come to you with that concern about, I don't want to get too bulky on my top half of my body because I want to be lightweight for my running, and it's just not how it works. You want to build a strong body all over. You want to, because I actually do notice that when I'm pushing hard on efforts in running, your arms are swinging, your arm drive matters, and when I'm pushing hard, and it's almost like it's super advanced, and I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of it, but all the oxygen going into your legs, there's not enough in your arms, so which often results in like fatigue, and you're getting heavy. Do you ever get that heavy feeling in your arms when you're really pushing hard?
Yeah.
And that's why when you're actually working out your arms, it allows them to be more fatigue resistant to that.
Oh, that's a really good way of looking at it, isn't it? So, and like, I mean, there's heaps of misconceptions that people talk about, but one big one that I find is that it's only for like people that are injured. People think, oh, I'll do some strength training because I'm injured.
Yep.
And that's another, big no-no. You should always be doing the strength training to prevent those injuries. When you're coming back, when you're recovering, it's important to focus on all those
The rehab
side of things. That's really important. And there's different places that you can go for rehab, because often with rehab of a particular injury, you need to kind of isolate that muscle or that muscle group so that it becomes stronger. It's important to have an all-round strength, but if you're coming back from a certain injury and you want to get that part of your body stronger, you can actually, there are a lot of places there's a lot of exercises that you can do to strengthen that one, that muscle group. And there's places like, there's a gym that's local to us, it's called Keezer, and you can go there and like if you've had back issues or anything like that, you can actually get into these machines and they're
It
amazing.
completely isolates
It
the one
isolates,
muscle.
yeah. So you sit in this machine and it isolates you, and you're kind of in there. And because often your bigger muscles will take over, say your quads or anything like that. But if you're isolated in this machine and the only muscle that allows you to move is the one that's the weakest, it's a really good way.
That
So,
is pretty cool.
so places for rehab like that are really good for if you want to get strength back into a particular area quicker, because often it's hard. Those tiny muscles that really need to get strong. It's how do you do it if you can't isolate that particular muscle?
When I look at strength training, and what kind of got me into it is I'll often look back at an event and the sorest muscle, and I know for you at Down Under, your sorest muscle, what was it? The inside of the
Yeah,
knees?
it was
So on
inside of the quads.
quadriceps, yeah. And for me, it's always been my hip flexors, and I often do some band workouts just to release tension in those hip flexors and build up strength. And one thing I really want people to do is actually reflect back after their events and go, where was I the most sore? And that's probably where you need to do strength training, because that's where you're lacking.
Yeah, and I do that a lot. Like every time, and that I've had that problem a fair few times. I've had it. Any of the hillier events that I do, and you kind of push through that pain, and it's like, oh, okay, I don't want to have to feel that again. So then you'll do the strength training, but often people find that it's hard to do the strength training with the running because they'll have DOMs, or they'll be too sore to run the next day.
It's for those that don't know that DOMs are they're called delayed onset muscle soreness. And what happens is that when you do a workout and when your muscles aren't really, we never really get DOMs from just running in general because you're always running. But when you do a workout that you haven't really done before, what can happen is a couple of days later, there can be a delayed onset muscle soreness. So your muscles will be just so sore. And that's where I actually find it hard sometimes starting up strength training. And I'm sure a lot of people will experience this and they're going to be like, why would I do strength training if it's jeopardizing my actual running? But you're almost going to grit through those couple weeks and then you just slowly progress and get a little bit heavier weights until you don't get any more DOMs.
Yeah, I think with strength training though as well, you need to progress slowly.
Yes.
Because you can actually avoid the DOMs. If you're getting DOMs, some people think, oh yeah, DOMs is a good thing because I'm working those muscles and I'm getting stronger, but you don't actually have to grind it out. If you're someone that actually finds it really hard to juggle DOMs and running, then back off the weight that you're lifting or the exercises, the amount of reps that you might be doing, because you don't have to suffer through those DOMs. You'll get to a point, like you just said, you'll get to a point where those DOMs kind of disappear. If you haven't run if I don't run for 3 or 4 weeks on hills, and I've had an injury, yeah, and I hit the hills and I come there and I bomb it down the hills, I can hardly walk, and that's just those DOMs. You start to get used to, your muscles start to get used to those movements and the stresses that you put them under, and then you move on from that.
Well, it kind of relates back to a little strength work is better than none.
Yeah, 100%. I'll often say to people, because it's quite daunting if you, like anything in life, I suppose, if you come along and have a strength program that takes you half an hour a day or an hour a day, a lot of people can't find that amount of time, and I think little often is better. So if this is probably a good one for people for this week, just to have a go at. If you're someone that does no strength training, when you first get up in the morning, do 20 squats, and then before you go to bed, do another 20 squats.
Just to get in the rhythm.
Just get in the rhythm, and you create a routine, and then maybe on the next day do a different exercise. Maybe do some calf raises. Do 20 calf raises in the morning, 20 calf raises. That's strength work. So it may not be the technical, the perfect technical way to do strength work, but it's something. And what you'll find is that you'll start to see small benefits, and then you might move on to going, I might do, actually that worked, those little exercises, I might do half an hour a week. and then I might try this, because people do all different things for strength work. There's like Pilates, there's yoga, just lifting and those kinds of things. So there's so many different forms that you can do, and they all combine to that whole package of being a well-rounded athlete or runner.
A routine can be really important and actually useful for people just to get started. So I know the exact days I'll do strength training on a Monday, I'll do one on a Wednesday, and I'll actually often do one after a hard workout, always after a hard workout, and that'll probably be my heavy one to be able to get my muscles to have more fatigue resistance. And I'll just do them on those set days, and no matter what, I'll just do them. And I think that routine can really help people dial in that strength training plan and not sort of just wander off and be a little bit inconsistent.
Yeah, I think a lot of people also see others doing strength training, and they'll see they're doing these big, intense deadlifts and all these other things. Often you'll find that when you actually look at someone or an athlete and you try and compare yourself to them, they're doing that final little 5% of that strength training that's required, because they do 95% of it all right, and then now they're trying to find that little edge. But a lot of us can just gain so much from the 95% that, the squats every day, or...
Well, it's because everyone's on their own different journey.
Yeah.
This person might have found that 95% and, like you said, is looking for the 5% to get to that 100. Why would you do 5% before you do 95%?
Yeah. And I think before people even start running, I think introducing that strength work,
Of course.
because it'll complement the amount of injuries that I've had because I haven't used strength work to my advantage it's nuts. And I've had so many DNFs. One in particular, I remember. I will actually play the video for the viewers and we've both seen it. It's me coming in after, I think it was 48 hours of an event, and I'm coming in and my legs are absolutely cooked. You'll be looking at this footage now and you'll be like, how on earth did he get through? And then you see me take off again and you can see my form has completely dropped off and I'm no good. And then we'll play a video of Phil Gore on lap 119 taking off and coming back, and you can just see how effortless his form looks. And a lot of that comes down to his strength work. And I'd done less than half of what he had done, and my hips dropped, everything drops. And I think what we find is that strength work is kind of the pillar that starts everything, and everything cascades off that. Because if your body's not strong enough to maintain a good form, what tends to happen is that your hips will drop. So then things kind of cascade. Then your knees get sore, then your ankles get sore, and you might DNF or not be able to get through. And you think that you're just not fit enough, or things just you did things wrong. But it started with the strength work. It's the same as, I find that if you hold good form and your body's not having to overwork, then your heart rate doesn't get elevated either. And what ends up happening is that when your heart rate's elevated, all your blood rushes away from your stomach, and because you're getting going, you're moving, and then you can't eat as well. So often I've found as well that because my form's dropped off because I haven't done the strength work, I found that my guts aren't working. And then it's a silly that's a silly link to think to have, but it's actually true. If I had have maintained my form, and that's why you see the likes of Phil Gore and Sam Harvey and some of these endurance athletes be able to go for days, because they're able to hold their form because of the strength work that they put in training.
So there's actually different methods on how you can perform strength training, and 3 of them that I found was plyometrics, submaximal load, and heavy load. And the study that I looked into was trying to relate these 3 methods to running economy. And what running economy is how efficiently your body can use oxygen and supply it to muscles at specific running paces. So I'll give you an example. For instance, a runner that has a really good running economy is able to run faster for longer, whereas someone who doesn't have as good of a running economy cannot do that.
And by doing the strength training, you can increase your running economy because your muscles are stronger to perform that economy at whatever pace it may be.
Well, in a way, because what this study had found was that from these three methods, they not one single method alone significantly improved running economy. It was actually a combination of all three. And that's what they have found that would really significantly improve running economy. So that could be a heavy load, which is a really heavy lift, like 80%, above 80% of your one max rep, and you could also add plyometrics into that. So a combination of both can really improve your running economy rather than just plyometrics itself, which plyometrics is short, fast, explosive movements.
Yeah, so it's a combination of a lot of things, isn't it? And I think for the beginners that are kind of just starting out, I mean, that there's a lot of technical, jargon there, and you've, taken a deep dive, and I reckon that you should become a strength and conditioning coach off what you just said. But I think that it's just a combination of doing different movements, and just like when you're training for a particular race, and you might do hill reps one day, and then you might do intervals the next day, and then you might do, I think with strength training it's similar, isn't it? And is that what you're saying, that it's all different movements just to make yourself?
Because what happens is these different movements, you bring one in here, you bring one in here, you bring one in here, and they all complement each other to build this strong body. And that's just like the running and different sessions, your intervals, your hills, your long runs, your easy runs, they all help you build yourself up into this character, this great build.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. And I guess that's probably a good way to, segue into like coaches and getting coaches for things like strength work, because often people are a little bit maybe nervous about getting a strength coach or a running coach.
It can be nerve-wracking. Even when I first started, I had to reach out to Tom Dade, who is a great runner, and he's
on point with his strength work.
On point with his strength work. I look at his training, and on the Strava graph, it's just the line is 6 hours, 6 hours. Oops, I just knocked the mark. 6 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours, and it's super consistent across the board.
Yeah, because he stays super consistent. But he's the guy that we spoke to initially, and he's the one that talked about the pyramid, the base of the pyramid being really big. And like last week, we spoke about belief being this massive base of our pyramid that all our mindset stuff sat on top. Well, strength work is the exact same thing, but for our physical self.
Because at the start, I had no idea what I was doing.
But you know how you said, like, so for instance, we build this big base with our strength work, and then you throw in your running economy gets better, and then your interval sessions get better, and then your hill work, and then all these things, all the running stuff gets better. But at the base of it all is this nice strong body that can sustain all that you throw at it.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool. And I mean, if you get a coach, and like, obviously Tom spoke to you about what he does and things like that, you can get an idea of what a structured plan looks like.
Well, I guess it doesn't actually have to be a coach that you pay for. You can just reach out to people that might have a little bit more experience. With Tom, I just reached out. He had a little bit more experience. I didn't have to pay for a program. Yeah. He just sort of gave me 3 workouts that guy could do throughout the week and just hit them.
Because that's the thing, that there's so much that you can actually do before you actually have to pay someone to do something.
Yeah.
But and then once you get going, then it's all about a coach can help you improve your technique, put a structured plan in place, keep you accountable. That's always good.
That is huge, and even from you in just general running, like just the support there is really helpful.
I remember when I had a run coach, Brendan Davies. Who many may not know, but he was, and he's still a very handy runner. He's got his own coaching business, but he was an incredible runner. And I remember I was so accountable when he was coaching me, because I would do a run and I would write down how it felt and everything like that, and because I knew that he would look at it and then he would set my training.
We obviously don't like to use the word validation, but we enjoy the feedback. Like, you just look for that feedback. It's like, oh, you had a great run, Tim.
Yeah, so I actually reached out to a few performance coaches and PTs and physios, And one in particular that I spoke to was Dr. Cameron Harder, and he's a physio and PT and endurance coach at Ridge Athletic. And the big thing I got from him was he said that focusing on consistency and routine were pivotal, because we've often spoken about consistency so that you see your results, coming to fruition over time. And he also spoke about strength work, making sure that you're actually doing strength work. And what he meant by that was 5 to 8 reps. Now, I know we kind of spoke that, doing 30 reps of squats just to get started and get your foot in the door is important. But once you kind of get your foot in the door, it's important to be actually doing the strength work for those muscles. And, he also spoke about a good variety of, working those muscles in multiple planes of movement.
So is that like your sagittal, frontal, and traversal
Yeah,
planes?
exactly like that.
I'm also interested, like, what did he mean about the 5 to 8 reps? And was it like was it that you weren't doing enough work, more than 8 reps, or?
Yeah, so almost having more weight, like lifting more weight, so that you're not doing so if you've got weight and you can do 100 reps of that weight, then you're not really doing strength work.
Yeah.
So he's fantastic, and he's got some amazing stuff on Instagram. If you want to go check him out at Ridge Athletic, he's got a lot of things for beginners, and he's also got a lot of stuff for elite athletes that they can use. And then I also I reached out to Coach Peru, who happened to be the King of the Hill winner last year, and he was really generous with his time as well. And I mean, for a guy that can run 75 hours, do 20,000 meters of vert, I was interested in what his philosophies were on training. And he said that had a lot of importance, focused a lot of his importance on resistance training and recruiting fast twitch muscles to increase like bone density, develop max strength and things like that. And he spoke about not being the fastest athlete out there when he competed at King of the Hill, but he was probably the strongest, and that kind of got him through a lot further than others. And he's the same. If you look him up, his name's Coach Peru. He's an amazing athlete, and he's like in terms of hybrid athletes, he's an absolute beast. So yeah, it was great that those guys got back to us and gave us some insights from a coaching perspective and a endurance perspective for anyone that's listening.
There's been a lot of information that we've covered about strength training. It's a little bit up in the air, and people might be a bit confused on what bits of information to take in. And I guess what kind of bits of advice would you say for people to stay on track?
Yeah, staying on track is like pivotal. Like for me, it's really, really hard. I'm probably a perfect example of the guy that doesn't stay on track with strength work. But the biggest thing I found for me was understanding or being able to visualize why you need to do that strength work. And for me, I've got this big red DNF on my training plan that sits on the wall at work.
Is that for Down Under?
Yeah, for Down Under. And it's just a constant reminder of why I need to do the strength work, because had I have done that, that result might have been a bit different. So I think having something visual like that, have a photo of you not crossing that finish line, or have a photo of the finish line that you were meant to cross and stick it up. And then if you're not motivated to do strength work by just looking at that finish line photo that you're actually not a part of, that'll kind of stimulate you and motivate you to go, you know what? It's only half an hour strength work, or it may be this, or maybe that.
That's I think that's a really good way to look at things in terms of visualization.
Yeah.
And for me, I guess I've kind of hinted it previously in terms of what I would do to stay on track. But again, it's the setting the routine, but also reflecting back on and I know I've said this before, but reflecting back on your races and actually kind of getting together and even seeking advice from us. Me, Dad, and other experts that know how to do strength training. And you can actually go to people and go, oh, look, I've got this issue, whether that be an injury, whether that just be something that you need to improve in terms of your muscles were too sore in an event. And I think that really helps if you just seek in the wider community.
And you know what? A lot of people that have had whether it be an injury and had to recover from it, or had a DNF and had to, recover from that. A lot of those people, they don't want others to feel like that. So everyone is open with their time and, wants to help
Well,
others.
we've even actually experienced that with you and reaching out to people. Like,
I remember.
has anyone actually go, oh no, I'm actually not really going to help you out here. I don't
No,
wanna give you-"
everyone gives, but everyone gives like real sensible advice as well. They give you the basics because what you'll find more often than not is that it's the simple things that that will help you get better. Little nudges in the right direction. People might say, "Well, are you doing strength work?" And it's like, "No, I wasn't doing that." Well, maybe try that, and then it's like, "Okay, well, I have to do the strength work." But yeah, so I mean, that's a pretty deep dive.
Yeah,
covering a lot, and it's good to get different insights. But I think the overall picture of it is that if you stay consistent, start slow, you don't overdo it, you'll end up becoming a more well-rounded runner, and you'll find that you won't be getting injured, you'll be finishing more races, and you'll be a hell of a lot happier.
And don't worry about the misconceptions.
Yeah.
Because those misconceptions just lead you down the wrong path, and they're not true.
Yeah, just focus on what you can control, because taking action, like we often, it should be one of our catchphrases, taking action, because taking action is the only way to get better at something.
Yeah, I like thinking. I always see this picture, and it's about this massive wave, and there's a surfer on it, and there's all these people watching. It's like the doer and the thinkers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like taking action.
Yeah, you just take action. If you want to be riding that wave, take action. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we'll move on to the Better by Next Week challenges.
Just to see how you've gone.
And the reaction. Yeah, and the reaction. I had an overwhelming reaction from the community reaching out to us. It was pretty cool. I seen people tagging us on Strava saying, they'd done the Better by Next Week challenge, running 10Ks. One of our listeners, Paul Pratt, ran 10Ks, and it was a pretty steady run, but then he ended up running and doing the extra bit from my challenge at 3-minute 20 pace.
Really?
I'm like, yeah, that's crazy.
Wow,
that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. And I know for him, that's like, I haven't really seen him do those paces before, and I'm like, wow.
That was crazy. That was awesome. And yeah, so we had another guy reach out to us, Dave Neville. He did 2 5K loops of this course, and then he said he did the third one for our challenge, and I'm like, that's nuts. That was pretty cool.
It's really heartwarming. And even I saw a local athlete, Michael Patterson, and he was running up a local hill that we have out in the Yangs here, and it's called the Saddle, and it's really steep there, and there's actually a little bit you can kind of cut off at the top, and most people actually don't cut off at the top and keep going.
It's 20% grade.
Well, it's 20% grade. This extra bit is an extra 20% grade, and it's about for 200 meters. And he went up and crushed it, tagged us, and said that he did it for our challenge.
Yeah.
And it's just awesome.
Yeah, so it's really cool. And I mean, I've also had a lot of people reaching out about our belief episode, about some of our belief stuff as well, and how it's motivated them. A local race director reached out to us, and he said that we got him running again, and he's got him motivated to run again. He hadn't been running for like 10 years. And it was funny because I said to him, I go, did you get a bit more of a message though from the belief episode? I go, you're the person that's been believing in others. I remember when I first started out, my first ultra marathon was for Trails Plus, and it was him believing in me that I could do it.
That's so cool how it wraps around.
Yeah, and now it's gone full circle. 15 years later, here he is messaging me and you saying, you know what, Tim, I'm back running, and I'm like, that was awesome.
That's what we want to see, and it's awesome. And if people are worried about tagging us, don't be worried.
Man, there's so many people just reaching out, even in personal messages. We're more than happy to, it pumps us up. It wants us, or it makes us want to be better on this episode. So, but for me, your challenge was for me to go and think of something negative and turn it into a positive. And it's funny that we're doing strength work this week because my biggest negative is my actual strength work. So I hate doing it. I always put a negative spin on it. I try and delay it. But what I tried to focus on this week was to make strength work as positive as possible and find the reasons why the strength work should be positive.
Okay.
So I was doing some hill repeats, and I was trying to focus on why I'm like, I feel so good. I'm like, and then why do I feel so good? That's right. It's the strength work. So I was not even convincing myself. I was telling myself that because of the strength work, that's why I was getting better. And I ended up turning. So then when I went and hit my next strength session, I'm like, no, this is good. This is positive because it's giving me positive outcomes in training. So yeah, I had a lot of fun with it.
That's amazing. Yeah, I'm glad that you had a lot of fun with it. Well, what you had told me was to, on some of my harder repeats, was just to push that little bit extra. And again, it was awesome to see other people do that. But for me, what had happened is I had this one specific workout where it was hill repeats. And what I had thought initially at the start was I was going to run 6-minute pace up this hill. And this hill was like at least 12% grade average all the way up for 1 kilometer. And I had to do 5 repeats of it, and they were roughly around 6-minute pace. They were roughly 6 minutes of intervals. And my initial thought was going to be 6 minutes. And then I went up and pumped it and got under actually 5 minutes. And I thought, okay, well, maybe I can do 5:15 pace all the way up this hill. And for the next 4 repeats, I actually got under like 5:10 the whole time. And it's just it's that limiting whatever in your brain that is like, what?
Yeah, what I wanted to do, and why I kind of set that challenge for yourself and the viewers is it was kind of, I wanted to see if anyone picked up on it, right? But what it was not only to challenge you to do that little bit extra, but to actually, so that you could convince yourself to, often you limit yourself, and you just said it. So for me, it was to show people that you don't limit yourself because your potential is a lot greater than what you think it is. And often, like, people kept on proving that to themselves all week by doing that little bit extra and going, hang on, like I set this task to do during training, and then I nailed it, and then I did a little bit more. So I'm capable of more than what I actually think I am.
Do you think that your motivation behind that was almost to sort of, because people can continue the challenges week by week, and do you think you kind of want people to continue doing that, and that kind of builds this mental up? It's like, actually,
well, it builds self-belief.
Am I limiting myself here?
Yeah. Oh, well, and then they find I can do a lot more than what I think I can.
Yeah.
And then you take that into other aspects of your life or training or whatever it may be. So yeah, so that was really cool. That challenge was great for both of us. I really enjoyed turning my negative into a positive, and I think that'll stick with me. And I think that I can use that a lot for a lot of other things that I'm going to take into the future. So
on that note, we'll bring this one across the finish line and get into our Better by Next Week challenges. Would you like to go first?
No, you go first. I went first last week.
So my Better by Next Week challenge for you this week is to do an exercise where you kind of hop in a square and you go 1, 2, 3, 4. And what I found for this is it actually kind of helps out that shin muscle. And I know that you've kind of been having a little bit of issues in your past races on that. And I would like you to do that just so you can prepare yourself for King of the Hill.
Oh, that's a good one. I reckon the viewers will like that one too.
And you do it from both legs.
Oh, okay. And how many hops do you do?
There's about, so you do 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's 1. And I'd like you to do that 10 times.
Okay. So 10 reps each leg.
Yep.
And that's it. Any time of day?
Any time of day.
Oh, that's
just
all
at least once time.
Oh, that's pretty cool. All right. Well, yeah, that's a cool one. I'll give that one a go. And I guess my Better by Next Week challenge for you, I've actually gone and reached out to a awesome run coach and endurance coach, Josh Coldray, Endurance, and he has created a 10-minute mobility workout for you and for all our listeners.
Oh, okay.
So there'll be a link in the notes, and there'll be a link on our website, and we'll in our newsletter as well if everyone wants to sign up to that. So it'll be a 10-minute mobility workout just to release your hips to focus on all the things that you need as a runner to be more mobile and more limber and stuff like that. So he's planned that for you, and I'd like you to do that every morning.
Every morning.
Or every morning or every night. Like
Okay.
just at least once a day.
Yep.
Is all you need to do, and I'd love to see how you
Well,
go.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, like I mean, I've seen the program, so I'm gonna actually
You're
be
gonna
doing
do
them.
it,
Yeah, I'm gonna do it myself as well. So that's gonna be pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, so I guess we'll wrap it up from there. It's been an awesome episode, and the listeners and the viewers, if you can do us one favor, that would be like and subscribe to our channels, comment as much as you can, share any of our stuff on socials, because it does really help us grow the channel and get more content and be able to speak to more runners and bring you all the content that you want to kind of hear and all our insights. So I guess that that's another great episode, Ol, and until next week.
Yeah, enjoy seeing you guys next week.
Yeah.